as I'm getting a handful of text messages about my job. And Trey Benson with a big run up the middle. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Cuddles Gaming here on YouTube, and today we are kicking off with episode number 1 of our Arizona Cardinals rebuild, where we pretty much just take this Cardinals team and see what we can do with it. So first, I think we need to just kind of take a look at this roster and really get a good glimpse of what it's going to be. Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew, and Carson Beck are quarterbacks. Again, Carson Beck is a rookie. I think he was, their 3rd round pick this last year. Just kind of looking at everything that we see here, and there's not a lot of talent. Obviously, Cardinals are projected to be one of the worst teams in the NFL this year, so this is going to be a little bit of an interesting situation. Jeremiah Love, obviously, he's going to be our main number 1 running back. He's going to kind of be the center point of kind of what we do on offense in this first year. Tyler Algier is a nice number 2, only 26 years old. I kind of forgot how young he is. James Conner, we have a really, really good running back room, including Trey Benson as well. So, even if we were to trade away James Conner and Tyler Algier, we could still have Trey Benson and Bam Knight. I wouldn't hate the idea of having Trey Benson as our number 2 with Jeremiah Love as our number 1. Looking over at fullback, no fullback there. Michael Wilson is our number 1 receiver, with Marvin Harrison Jr. coming in at our number 2. And then we're just kind of taking a look at the rest of it. Reggie Virgil was a draft pick, so we might try to get something there. But yeah, other than that, there's just not a ton of talent. Obviously, Michael Wilson has really shined in last year. And then we also have Marvin Harrison Jr., who we just need to get more of. He's too talented to not be this good. Trey McBride, one of, if not the best tight ends in the league. This dude is just insane. We are ecstatic that we have him. And how long is his contract with the team? There it is. Still getting used to some of these new menus here in Madden, but looking at this, we have him up until 2029. That is absolutely money. Perfect. Offensive line, Paris Johnson Jr. That's a pretty solid young left tackle in the NFL. We'll take it. Isaac Samalu, 81. Probably want to look to upgrade there. Again, still fairly good overall, but that 32 means he's going to start to dip a little bit sooner. Taking a look at our center, we're kind of in that same spot. Good overall right now, but over our 30 and above at this point. So it's probably going to be a situation of where we don't need to jump in to get a new center right away, but it's something that it's not necessarily a bad idea. Chase Basantes, that is a good-looking right guard prospect for us. And then we do need a right tackle to kind of take us through. Zavon Collins. And then we also have Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat, this is a guy that we could potentially find a trade package for. So we're going to need some defensive linemen, or at least some edge rushers, I should say. Walter Nolan is a good young prospect, but Caleb Proctor, this is a guy that I was really, really high on in last year's class, and he could ultimately be our number 2 behind Nolan. And I think I'm going to try to get this young pairing of these two guys. Proctor, while he was playing, Louisiana Tech, I think it was. Let's just take a look here. Southern Louisiana. He was just an absolute monster for that squad last year, just getting a bunch of good numbers, and I'm really intrigued to see what he's going to be able to do with Walter Nolan, who is a pretty solid defensive tackle in his own right. Looking at our linebackers, it's not looking great. Again, no one that we can really say is a superstar. Looking at the corner position, just kind of looking at it, Will Johnson, he's without a doubt our best player right there. Looking at our safeties, nothing spectacular. Obviously, we have Budda Baker. This is someone that I think for us, we can definitely try to look to trade away. Kickers and punters and long snappers are whatever. But for our draft picks, we have all of our standard owned draft picks. And we are, without a doubt, going to try to change that for sure. But we already have a few players that need upgrading. Hayden Connor, a center, is our backup center. So that is where we are going to have that. Just looking at free agents, I'm not going to add any free agents here at this point, just because I just don't necessarily think it's worthwhile. But going through our depth chart, I am going to have Carson Beck as our number 2, while Jacoby Brissett is our starter. Likely going to see some changes there. Halfback, we don't have Jeremiah Love as our starter. Okay. I am going to have Trey Benson as our number 2. Fullback, James Conner. I'm perfectly okay with that. Actually, maybe Tyler Algier might be better, but it's saying Connor is a better option there. Yeah, this is kind of what it is. Devin Duvernay, he's really just going to be a returner more than anything. Kendrick Bourne. Do I want Reggie Virgil? You know what? I'll put Virgil in there just because I'm wanting to try to get some of the young guys. Not going to change that. I don't think we're going to change anything on our offensive line here. Again, the left side looks definitely better than the right side, but then again, that right tackle spot is in a very, very rough spot. Again, we're going to be looking to try to potentially trade away Josh Sweat and Budda Baker. We're going to put Caden Proctor up to our second D tackle. Our Sam is going to be whatever. Mac Wilson Sr. is our Mac, our Will. Yeah, Garrett Williams. I'm going to put Caleb or Will Johnson into the number 1 corner role, as that's kind of what I believe he is. Get through that. Kick returns. Who do I want? Devin Duvernay and Devin Duvernay. That is definitely what I want. Kicker on the kickoffs, Jeremiah Love. And then looking at our gadgets, I would still rather have that and Trey Benson be our number 2. Tyler Algier. Again, I would prefer Trey Benson there with Jeremiah Love as our second. Just try to get both of these guys some carries. Slot wide receiver. I wonder if, just looking at Marvin Harrison, playmaker, and Wilson, is that maybe we throw Marvin Harrison as our primary slot receiver. Again, at 6'4", or pardon me, 6'3", 220 pounds, he could be a really, really difficult guy to kind of deal with, kind of up the middle. And so I'm going to kind of take a look at that and see if that could be a pretty good option for us. Ken Proctor is going to move to our right spot. Nose tackle, perfect right there. Kind of like what we like. On slot corner, Sean Murphy Bunting. And yeah, that is the depth here. So kind of getting into some preseason work. I won't really show you any of this, but yeah. All right, so let's get some of the training camp stuff out of the way, and we're going to be using Carson Beck. We're not going to be doing all of the trainings. We're just going to try and get at least some of them. And with Carson Beck, this is what we're going to do. And just try to avoid everything right there. Try to get him that little bit extra. Just avoid the big testicle monsters coming our way. And he missed that one. Awesome. All right. So we get bronze on that one. Yep, Carson Beck, not necessarily the world's greatest quarterback, but yeah, that is kind of what we're going to get. Get some running back with Jeremiah Love. First time we actually get to play with him, and oh, okay, yeah, no, he just right off the bat, he feels. I ended up getting taken out on that one, but still nice little bit of a run. Just got to get the feel of him. That first run maybe got me too excited. Right there, boom, easy. Just try to jump over that right there. We have silver. Can we get the gold with Jeremiah Love? Oh, gonna literally the last opportunity to get the gold medal. And we do sneak in there, and it's just going to be silver, but for training camp, not bad whatsoever. So let's get into the first preseason game here in episode number 1. We are going to go through all 3 preseason games. Again, we're just going to be doing a lot of play of the moment, so let's get into this one. All right, so our starting offense out here for the first time in Las Vegas playing against the Raiders. Just going for a run up the middle. Jeremiah Love takes it for a nice big gain. His first ever rush in an NFL uniform. Almost goes for 20. And again, for us here at the moment, we really want to see and utilize what he is capable of. Again, looking at that, we just don't want to make sure that he end up banged up. Ends up having a nice little run there. Not as much as the first one, but still a good looking opportunity. Now we have Jacoby Brissett. Let's see what we can do here. Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr. both kind of going on that crosser. And Trey McBride ends up coming away with the catch, but not enough for the first down. Short yardage. Let's go back with Jeremiah Love, trying to get him. I know coach is saying that try to exploit the stack box, but we want to see what Jeremiah Love can do here in this first drive, in this first preseason game. Again, we're not going to be playing all of these preseason games. We're just going to try to get a little bit of a feel for some of the players. Marvin Harrison with a nice catch and a nice move for a big gain. That is what we want to see. Again, Marvin Harrison Jr., the former 4th overall pick, is just simply too good to be this bad. And so we're going to hope to try to revive his career here for the Cardinals. Jeremiah Love, just shy of a first down. They rush to the left. How to get him that first down opportunity right here, right now. Second and less than a yard. Able to sneak this one through for a couple. 5 rushes for 39 yards. Not a bad opening performance for the young man. Go under center. Maybe try to get him with a little bit into the passing game. See him right there. Able to make a nice move, almost. Just had too many players around him, but still nice looking job there. All right, we are officially first and goal, red zone opportunity. Jeremiah Love, oh, pardon me, this is Trey Benson ends up taking it in for the score. So it is not Jeremiah Love ultimately getting the first touchdown in this series. It is indeed Trey Benson coming in, just finding an open seam and just easily walking it in there. All right, so now finally going to our first little bit of defense. And for me, I really want to try to work with Proctor. Ashton Jeanty, also another talented back, and we ultimately get the fumble. Or we get a fumble from Ashton Jeanty, and the Raiders do recover it. A big time play for us. Again, Caleb Proctor able to sneak through the offensive line of this Raiders team and get to Jeanty. I believe that's Jack Beck. It is indeed able to get that one. So we'll try to get a little. Is it Jack Besh? Is that what it is? Either way, still too close to confirm that it is a pass. Try to just break through a little bit, and an easy wide open touchdown for the Raiders. Secondary just not able to keep up, and we weren't able to get that pressure. I know in real life, in last night's game, that was actually Fernando Mendoza's first passing touchdown was to Beck. So coming in now, Looking at this, Proctor is out. Let's see what we can do here. Try to get around. Some pressure coming. And that is just simply a drop. Is that Kirk Cousins in as backup? Do the Raiders have Kirko in there? So yeah, Proctor still in this one. So this is why we're happy to play some of the defense. Couldn't get away from that. And we are able to get the stop, causing a 4 down. And the Raiders are going to go for it here. So let's try to bring a little bit of pressure. Mike Washington, a very speedy running back, able to break through and able to get the first down, as we were just not able to break through and get that tackle. All right. Should be Carson Beck time here at the moment, and it is. So this is an important drive for us. Able to get that one over to Bourne. And so, nice first pass there for Carson Beck. Try to get Trey Benson some work. Makes one cut. Able to get a nice bit of running room. Want to try to go into the locker room here with the lead if we can. So Trey Benson, put him back out there. Able to get a catch. We'll call a timeout. It didn't happen the way that we want it. Again, I love the running attack that we can potentially get here. And if we have a good looking running back there, Benson up the middle. Again, Trey Benson, unfortunately, has just dealt with a lot of injuries throughout his career. And obviously, Jeremiah Love when he is there. Carson Beck, let's take it up the middle. Not known as the most athletic guy in the world, but we are able to get that first down, which is something that we want. Looking at it here, what can we get? And just simply a drop. Good step up in the pocket by Carson Beck to try and at least deliver the pass. Might have gotten a little bit bumped on that one, so maybe Duvernay up the middle, showing off that speed. Duvernay able to get open, and that's a touchdown. The Raiders not with the best defense, and again, this is mostly backups in at this point, but Devin Duvernay showing off the speed, getting Carson Beck his first ever touchdown, and maybe, just maybe, our starting quarterback for the future. So ultimately, that is going to be that one. Again, I know we're not going to have a lot of our starter or playing a lot of the preseason just because we want to see just a select few bit of players. Carson Beck, again, we did have that passing touchdown. That was from us, but he also did have a interception during the simulation. Again, Jacoby Brissett, 3 for 3, 45 for 100%. But yeah, just that little bit more looking at the rushing. Yeah, again, 6 rushing attempts for Jeremiah Love, 53 yards. Trey Benson, 10 rushing attempts for 35 and 1 touchdown there. Looking at what we have here, Marvin Harrison Jr., only that 1 catch for 29 yards. That was a big one. Just looking at what we had there again, Devin Duvernay had 4 catches for 40 yards and that TD. Looking at this, had a little bit of breakdown there, but nothing too worrisome there. Ended up having a handful of sacks. Baron Browning with a sack and a half with Darius Robinson. This was a former first-round pick, so we kind of got to look at this as well. I think I kind of forgot about him. Jordan Birch with 1, Caleb Proctor with 1, so we'd like to see that. And Darian Taylor Demerson also got a half sack, no interceptions on the day. So good first preseason game. Again, didn't get the result, but that's not necessarily what we are worried about here at the moment. So we do have a couple of upgrades that we ultimately need to do, and we ultimately have 2 points here for Marvin Harrison Jr., and it looks like Caleb Proctor also has 2 as well. For us, pardon me, I think we want to continue to grow Marvin Harrison Jr. into a playmaker. So that's what we will do. Caleb Proctor, I really like the idea of him being a power rusher. Again, 6'2", 291 pounds. He's not the biggest defensive tackle, But I do think that is where we kind of want to see him grow and develop. Jeremiah Love, it's pretty self-explanatory. He is an elusive running back for us. And it looks like the Bengals are signing Harrison Smith in preseason week number 2. All right, so here we are for preseason game number 2. This time we are in Arizona and we are taking on the Cowboys. So again, we're not really going to take too much of a look at this just until we get to our first regular season game. So it looks like we're actually going to be out here on defense first. Cowboys starting to strike a little bit more. Get Proctor onto this side with Nolan. And neither of our defensive linemen get through. And Javonte Williams with a big rush up the middle. And that is, oof. Give a rush up the middle. Again, we're really trying to just work with Proctor here. And he ends up just falling down. The chop block underneath kind of hurt us. All right, so here we are, 2nd and 3 with the starting offense out there. Jeremiah Love trying to get that rush up the middle. Again, we're going to have to worry about Quinnen Williams over there. Jeremiah Love able to break at least one of the tackles. Still able to kind of get a couple here. This is a big play here. So let's try to load this box a little bit more. And Trey McBride with it is just going to walk in for an easy touchdown. A great adjustment at the line. We saw how much space was available. McBride able to find that little bit of space. Jacoby Brissett on the run. Able to get it to him. Not necessarily the world's greatest pass. Kind of had to dip down a little bit. But it is still a catch and a touchdown. Go Birds. Back out on the defensive side of the ball. Again, Proctor right over the center here at the moment. Javonte Williams to Dak Prescott's left. And they are able to get that one over the middle to their tight end. So just not able to capitalize on a stop. Let's try to bring in this little bit of a nickel blitz here. Again, Buda Baker. See what we can get. And we are able to break up that pass, causing 4th down. They're going to kick it. And again, are we going to get out there on offense? Who's going to be our quarterback at this point? It is still going to be our predominant starting offense here in the second half. Trey McBride get open. He does. If he had a little bit more speed and if that pass was a little bit cleaner, that was going to be a long touchdown. But Trey McBride, my friend, he is looking really good. Again, 99 overall. Trying to utilize him as much as we possibly can. Love to see it. In the red zone, 1st and goal on the 8th. Let's try to get Jeremiah Love his first NFL touchdown, even if it does come in the preseason. Looks like his wear and tear is kind of high here at the moment. I don't really love to see that, but hopefully this is the last sort of play. Let's get Trey McBride in motion. Both guys are doing that. Might not be. I would have loved to seen our offensive lineman get that block out there, because if that happened, then that is a touchdown. Either way, 3rd down here. Could we potentially get Marvin Harrison Jr. a touchdown? Jacoby Brissett can't escape the pocket, and Malachi Lawrence, the 1st-round pick for the Cowboys, ultimately able to get that one. But we don't go for kicks here in preseason. We go for touchdowns. We go for tutties. Let's get McBride out there. I'm kind of wanting... Oh, I guess we got to get going. McBride just can't quite get there, can't quite escape, but still, we are pretty far back. All right, back out here on the offensive side of things. Starting offense still out there. Let's get Jeremiah Love on that wheel. Let's see his hands. McBride out there on motion, going to his left. Let's see how Jacoby gets that when it's going to be picked off. Wonder if that's Caleb Downs over the middle. Got a big burst of speed, but Jacoby Brissett kind of threw that into triple coverage. Was trying to get that, and that's PJ Locke, number 1. And that might be Jacoby Brissett's day for now, but we don't fully know. Billings, Proctor gets too high safety look. And Caleb Proctor. I keep saying variants of his name, but ends up getting enough for the tackle for a loss, but ends up getting thrown off of his opponent. Don't really love to see that. Joe Milton in the pocket, running back to his right, comes over to the middle, and that is going to be a walk-in touchdown for the Dallas Cowboys. That is Jaden Blue. I believe he was a Texas running back. Not this last season, but the season prior to. Either way, the Cowboys ultimately do get the score. Carson Beck is back out here. Try to get this first down. Bourne over the middle. He ultimately does, a little bit behind him, but we're still able to get it. We're officially in the red zone now. They run one more play. As I'm getting a handful of text messages about my job. And Trey Benson with a big run up the middle. And he ends up getting the touchdown. Again, really, really like the idea of Trey Benson kind of just getting some of that extra work. But again, if we can get this young running back just some of that extra work, again, I think he's only 24 years old, man. Like, he could be someone that really balances out with Jeremiah Love. Could have a great running back tandem. Able to get the first down. Nice couple of cuts on that one. I'm just looking at this. And with Carson Beck, we do still want to try to get some development for him. We like the speed from Duvernay. Get him on the zig. Try to get him a little bit more open. It's not really going to work. Throw that ball away. Ultimately gets hit as he's throwing it, but we're happy that we didn't take the sack. See what we have here. Bourne, Higgins, Brooks. Duvernay is kind of going out. Going over the middle. And just a horrible route run by the receiver, but then again, not a great pass by Carson Beck. The right idea, just an amazing interception. So, unfortunately, still not able to get the win in preseason, 26-21. A little bit of a closer matchup this time. No passing touchdown from Carson Beck. Again, our quarterback situation, we kind of know that it's not going to be necessarily good enough this season. We're still going to ultimately try as much as we can to just improve and maybe use Carson Beck as our starter. But again, right now on offense, it is going to be Jeremiah Love. But yeah, Trey Benson putting in some good work here. Even Tyler Algier away from the sim actually got some good work there. Looking at our receiving, Trey McBride, 4 catches, 64 yards. Again, he's just so damn good. Marvin Harrison Jr. kept off the sheet. Michael Wilson only the 1 catch for 5 yards. We only had the Trey McBride touchdown in terms of receiving. Had a couple of sacks. Isaac Salamalu is one of the guys on our starting. Wilkinson, I also believe, is a starter as well. Mac Wilson with a sack. Jordan Brunch with a Birch. Not going to worry about that. But yeah, a couple of half sacks. Only the 2 after in week 1 having a bunch. But yeah, that is game number 2 of the preseason. Let's get to the third one. Jeremiah Love with another addition to his skill points. Already going to be an 84 overall. And we haven't even finished the preseason yet at this point. The dude could very easily be a big monster. We do have some breaking news, but we already saw that. Harrison Smith signing with the Bengals. But yeah, so far, our running back, already an 84 overall, heading into preseason week number 3. I was not going to show you the third preseason game, mainly because it was against the Packers, and I think we can all agree, fuck the Packers. That is all. But yeah, now we have to get to the point of where we have to cut this team down. So we're going to go through that and ultimately take a look there. So making our first trade again after the preseason games, we're kind of looking to unload, and Tyler Algier, with how good Trey Benson is going to, or how good he was looking during the preseason, Tyler Algier kind of becomes, expendable for us. We ended up trading him to the Texans for their 4th round pick. Well, we have made another trade, and this involves sending Josh Sweat to the New York Football Jets and a 7th round pick in this year's class for their 2nd overall pick. Tried to get a 1st round pick for Josh Sweat, and just no team was willing to bite on that trade offer. But the fact that we're still able to get realistically what should potentially be a high 2nd round pick, this, to me, it's still an absolute win. All right, so we have officially made another trade. This time we are sending Budda Baker to the Buffalo Bills, getting the Bills' 1st and 3rd round pick. Again, just giving ourselves a ton of extra draft picks. Again, we do know the Buffalo Bills is probably going to be a later 1st round pick, but getting some of the more older and expensive guys that still have a ton of value, again, like Josh Sweat, like Budda Baker, and like Tyler Algier. Again, that was a little bit more of a younger pick, but we were still able to get something like that. So we are adding a ton more picks to this roster. Immediately the Bills get a extension done with Budda Baker, giving him a 4-year extension. So that yeah, again, ultimately making that move done. So, oh, wrong one. This button. Yeah, new direction. The Jets get Josh Sweat, and then Budda Baker, after trading him to the Buffalo Bills, ends up signing an agreement to stay with them. Keenan Allen back to the Chargers, it seems. So sweet. But yeah, taking a look here at our 53-man roster, all 3 quarterbacks are going to make it. Looking at this again, Trey Benson is going to be our number 2, with Jeremiah Love as our number 1. And honestly, James Conner is kind of going to just be our air quotes fullback. This is our wide receiver room. Again, tight end room, it's Trey McBride. Offensive line here, we see Chase has grown at least one over the offseason. We desperately need a right tackle. One of the other things we did is move Darius Robinson back from a defensive tackle to a edge rusher. I know that's what he was drafted as when he came out of, I want to say it was Missouri he was drafted out of, but still. Caleb Proctor is our number 2 behind Walter Nolan. So we should have a fun looking defensive tackle room. This is kind of what our linebacking room is looking like. Will Johnson is officially our number 1 at 23. Demerson, maybe we should put him as a starter, but yeah, this team is not built necessarily for a high level of success this year. It looks like we're going to be fighting for that 3rd overall pick is kind of what they have, but we at least have the Buffalo Bills 1st round pick. We also have the Jets 2nd. We have the Buffalo Bills 3rd round pick, and we have the Houston Texans 4th round pick. So theoretically speaking, by the end of the year, we could have a situation of where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 top 125 picks. That would be absolutely a massive, massive haul for us this season. But yeah, that is cut day, and we are now officially into the regular season, and that is also going to do it here for episode number 1. Thank you all very much for watching, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment on anything that you want to see up into the future. But if you want to see week number 1 and potentially beyond, you have to check out the next episode. Peace.